What's up, engineers? Happy New Year. Let's make some predictions for 2024. These predictions are for everyone, but I really want to focus on advanced AI engineering. So we're talking LLMs, we're talking agentic software. We're focusing in on the new fundamental unit of technology, the prompt, the LLM, the transformer, GPTs. We're going in depth. We're making some high conviction predictions here. I want to give you insight on how I'm thinking about the next year over these topics. We're talking about AI LLMs, programming. We're talking about big tech, stocks, job market. At the very end, I want to share some Pareto actions you can use to get 80% of all the results with 20% of the input, right? Following the 80-20 rule. So let's talk about why we make predictions in the first place. It might seem really silly. Every year, everyone gets together and decides to, guess at what's going to happen in the next year. It's a little more complicated than that. There's a lot more going on. Great predictions yield greater accountability. When you have greater accountability, you have more skin in the game, right? You have more to lose. And when you have more skin in the game, you put more effort in, right? You care more because, your reputation, your status, your word is on the line. When that's the case, you typically are going to put more energy in and you're going to create greater outcomes. If you correctly predict the future, you can take advantage of being in the right place at the right time before everyone else. And even if you're wrong, you can learn from your mistake and you can likely pivot into situations that you considered and that you put thought into already because you're making predictions. And then you can pivot into that faster and easier. As a concrete example, imagine that you predict local LLMs will be on par with GPT 3.5. That means everything GPT 3.5 can do can be done on device locally with some decent prompt engineering. If you make that prediction, that means you can start getting ahead, right? You can start putting it into your tech stack. You can start positioning yourself. You can start learning how to use the technology that will likely yield that result. And so you can be there ready before anyone else does. You can have that integrated in your product and in your work, right? So this is why we make predictions. We make predictions so that we can be more accountable, which forces us to have more skin in the game, which yields greater outcomes. Okay, so real quick, just want to look back in 2023. I made 24 predictions. I got 16 of them right. That's a 66% win-loss rate. So pretty good. I think if you're above 50%, you're going to win over time, right? Just like an investor or a trader looking at the stock market, if you can get over 50%, even just a few percentage points over 50%, and you play that out over the long term, you're going to win big. I think that's a good metric to follow. I'm at 66% over the last year. If you want to check out those predictions, some of the things I got right, some of the things I got wrong, link in the description for that. This video is going to focus fully on 2024 predictions. I personally try to follow people who are consistently, not only making new predictions, but are also taking accountability for when they're right and when they're wrong, right? Like show me the proof. Show me the proof that your predictions are worth listening to at all, right? When you have people listening to your advice, people following you, you should show when you're right and when you're wrong. So let's move on. Of course, disclaimer, these are my personal predictions. I make bets on them with my time and my money, but that doesn't make them any more right or any more likely than your predictions, right? Your predictions or anyone else's. Don't blindly follow me. Don't blindly follow anyone's predictions. You will end up getting burned. Do your own research, put the time in, think deeply, and then make your predictions. So let's get into it. AI and LLM predictions. OpenAI is going to continue to lead the AI race. No one's going to come close. Everyone simply copies their strategies and attempts to replicate their models by using their models. Not a huge prediction to make, but you can definitely see a world where someone outcompetes OpenAI. I don't think this will happen. I have strong conviction here. Open source LLMs achieve consistent performance at GPT 3.5 turbo levels. I really do think that the LLM open source space is going to catch up really quickly. It already has been. And I'm really excited about this. I am actively taking bets on this already in my software with my time, building this out into future products, future tools that I'm working on right now. I do believe that open source LLMs are going to achieve 3.5 turbo levels in 2024. So I think we're going to see the first major AI sentience scare, and it's going to be reproducible at least for a small amount of time while that model is still out in the open. It's going to involve a next generation LLM from OpenAI, and it's going to spark some serious concerns, and it's going to elevate the status of prioritizing AI safety. I think most of us take this as a joke right now. To be totally honest, myself included, I don't think it's a serious problem yet. But I think in 2024, we're going to see something that is reproducible, that really makes us understand the threat of AI sentience. So breaking down my conviction kind of tier list here, mid is at the bottom, strong is in the middle, and extreme is at the top. Keep in mind, these are predictions that I'm actively betting on. So even my mid-level predictions at the bottom are still things I do believe will happen. Let's move on. More AI and LLM predictions. OpenAI is going to release 2 groundbreaking models. I think they're going to put out their next generation GPT model, and then likely later in the year, they're going to put out a next generation new architecture that precedes the transformer architecture. It's going to be whatever's next after GPT. I think they're going to launch that in the second half of the year. Extreme here, mastering the art of effective prompt engineering becomes a crucial skill for knowledge workers. It builds on top of the fundamentals, reading, technology, coding. Prompt engineering is the thing that comes next. I think it's going to be a fundamental skill for knowledge workers in 2024. I have strong conviction here. I think that the chat interface becomes ubiquitous. Everyone expects it on nearly every single website. It's going to transform user expectations. The chat interface will become the standard for AI interactions. And then contrasting that, I think that we're also going to kind of grow tired and realize how lazy copy and pasting a chat interface is everywhere. And then someone finally, and I think this will happen around mid 2024, finally, someone's going to put out a brand new user interface that makes us rethink how we should be chatting and communicating with our LLMs. It's not going to be a chat interface, and I think it's going to spark a variety of creative UIs for LLMs. Okay, let's talk about programming. No code, low code, that smoothly integrate with LLMs and that have a full opt-in coding experience become the standard for rapid prototyping. It's going to set the stage for the best way to build most software. Here's an extreme conviction prediction. I think the next generation of programmers will be divided into 2 camps. Those that focus on learning fundamental programming skills and use GPT technology to enhance their learning, and then another group that rely on GPT as a shortcut. I think from the beginner level all the way up to the senior staff level, there are 2 very different ways to prompt. You can prompt things that you know how to do yourself, and then you can prompt things that you don't know how to do. And when you blur the line to the second case of things you don't really know how to do, there's very little learning experience unless it's connected somehow to knowledge you already know. Now imagine this for beginners. It's going to be critically important for beginners to use GPT as a learning tool, not a problem-solving tool, specifically when they're getting started, probably in their first year. So over time, the first group will succeed and the second will struggle. They're going to become over-reliant on their GPT prompting abilities. I think effective engineering managers and hiring managers will learn to distinguish between these 2, who's just really great at prompting and then who's great at prompting but also knows how to write code. So if you're a newbie and you're just getting started, or maybe you're a junior engineer, keep that in mind. Make sure you're using GPT to learn, not just as a shortcut to solve your problem. All right. More programming predictions. I think TypeScript and Python will remain the unchallenged best all-around multi-purpose programming languages. You can script, you can write web servers, you can write desktop applications. You can really do it all with these 2 languages. Mastery of these 2 languages will ensure employability in the tech industry. Mid-level conviction here, Apple Vision Pro is going to pave the way for the next generation computing platform. I think this will mark the beginning of the migration from the laptop to the headset. It's going to be a very, very slow transition. It's bold to say that it's starting now, but I'm going to make the bet that this is going to be the beginning. Piggybacking off that prediction, we're going to see a surge in the popularity of the Swift programming language due to the headsets. It's going to be a small bump, but it'll be a bump. Another set of programming predictions here, Microsoft Copilot, Aider, Mentat, Cursor, and all the other AI assistants that you've heard of become a must-have for all programmers. They'll be integrated into all major IDEs and become a standard part of the programming experience. We already see this with Microsoft Copilot. If you're not on Microsoft Copilot, you are officially falling behind. So you need to be using this technology. And if you want to get ahead, you need to be pushing even further. Try Aider, try Mentat, try Cursor. There are many other AI assistants. We've covered some of them on the channel. This is going to be a part of the standard experience. So make sure you are at least up to the standard, okay? Extreme conviction here. I think top performing engineers continuously will move up the stack. They're going to be spending more of their time on business and product strategy and less on implementation details. Why? How can they do that? They utilize great tools powered by AI assistants that automate a majority of their implementation work. I think if you're using ChatGPT, you're using GPT-4, and you're solving problems you're building actively on a daily basis, You've already started to do this. And I think we're really going to see top performers blast off by doing this. Senior plus engineers that successfully make this transition will become the most valuable engineers in the industry by miles. It won't even be close. When you put a decade plus of experience together, when you put the technical ability together, and when you put together the ability to use AI assistants and AI charge tools, I think what you'll end up seeing is a brand new class of senior plus level engineers that are really, really differentiated. They'll be the top of the totem pole, and they'll be moving at light speed, solving problems like no other engineer before. Okay, and then I have another extreme conviction prediction here. Top performing engineers adapt to new AI charged tech by maintaining and curating information channels that keep them up to date on the latest tech and methodologies. So this is really important. It's really intertwined. What I'm predicting here is that top performing engineers are going to really focus in on their information channels, right? Their information input channels. There's going to be an explosion of new content, developer content, new technology, new AIs, large language models. There's going to be so much to focus on, it will be impossible, just like it is right now. So it's going to be critically important to really curate your information channels, keep them as clean as possible, keep them as streamlined as possible. This is something I'm spending a lot more time on. You need to be able to filter out the garbage and filter in the valuable, useful content, ideas, technology, and methodologies. Let's talk about big tech. So TikTok and social media addiction takes center stage once again, and a new regurgitated trend of dopamine fasting returns. The trend's going to blow up and die. TikTok is going to persist. Another kind of related prediction, TikTok will not get banned. It's going to continue its operations without major legal interruptions. I do want to call here the importance of being able to step away from technology, the importance of being able to focus and filter out, again, the horde of content and AI generated content, user generated content, all of it. It's going to be really, really crazy and ramped up thanks to LLMs and generative AI in 2024. You need to be able to step away. You need to be able to say, I need to go on a walk. It's time for me to get away from technology. It's time for a little vacay, whatever you need to do to recharge and to, rehumanize yourself, rehumanize your experience. Definitely make sure you're keeping an eye on yourself there and keeping your dopamine levels stable. Another extreme prediction here. This one's an easy prediction to make, but the big tech companies are going to maintain their positions. The only ripple in that is going to be OpenAI as a new significant competitor. And as you know, they are partners with Microsoft, which probably backs up the idea that the big tech companies are literally impossible to break down, to break apart. The only way to get into this group is to be partners with one of these groups, as we're seeing with OpenAI and Microsoft. Big tech is going to learn to utilize LLMs like no one else, and they're going to begin churning out hyper-specialized ads that force you to click. Force is in double quotes here, of course. No one's forcing anyone to do anything. We see an unusual increase in ad conversion due to this, specifically from these big tech companies, but we don't see any backlash until probably 2025, maybe 2026. When someone publicly calls out a hyper-specialized ad designed creepily just for them based on their recent web activity. I think this is going to be kind of a shocking moment where we realize that we all really are completely dependent and susceptible to the power that some of these big tech companies have garnered over the years. So I predict that OpenAI is going to continue to get sued for their AI models. We just saw this happen with New York Times suing them a couple days ago. I think, December 28th or 27th. They're going to win some, they're going to lose some, but they're going to move on. They already have all the money and all the data they need to continue building their next generation models. There have been lots of talks and ideas around them using GPT-4 to generate the new data for the next model. Basically, they already have everything they need. They're going to get sued more. It's not going to matter. We're going to move on. They're going to pay the fines. OpenAI continues to lead the AI race. Anyone that comes close only does so by analyzing and hijacking OpenAI's models to generate, test, and train their models. So this is a very similar prediction to one of my first predictions. Basically, OpenAI is going to continue to lead the race. What we're going to see over the year of 2024 is that we'll see proof that companies are just basically copying OpenAI, their models, their training methods, and literally using OpenAI's models to generate new models, right? I think this whole idea of using models to generate training data for the next model is going to be a pretty strong theme we're going to see throughout 2024. We're going to see Gemini Ultra surpass GPT-4 Turbo in Q1. For a brief moment until OpenAI releases their next generation model. Google runs back to the drawing board and looks for other ways to compete. It's likely going to be on the pricing or speed side. Okay, so stock and crypto predictions. So of course, I'm not a financial advisor, blah, blah, blah. Can't give financial advice. You know how it goes. AI and the Magnificent Seven play a key role in canceling a national recession, continuing the disconnect between the stock market trends and the financial realities of most Americans. Okay, so I'm going to predict here that SPX hit 5K in Q1 or Q2, and then we're going to have a super volatile year. We have the geopolitical uncertainties, election uncertainties. After a huge dip, we're going to see SPX back above 5,000 by the end of the year. So I'm predicting that by the end of the year, we're going to have SPX above 5,000 and SPY above 500. I'm predicting that the concentration of gains in big tech persist. Throughout 2024, we're going to see that the majority of gains all happen inside of those big tech companies. I'm going to predict more than 50% of those gains are going to be in the top 15 companies. I'm predicting we'll see the national debt surpass 50 trillion, yet it'll remain a lesser discussed issue for another year. It's going to set up a growing debt bubble that will pop between 2025 and 2027. I have no idea, and I don't think anyone really knows, what does it mean when the debt bubble pops here for the United States? What does that even mean? I don't know. Hopefully we won't find out. We probably will. Moving on. Economic uncertainties are going to fuel a rally. I'm predicting the rally is going to be boosted even further by BlackRock's ETF that launches in Q1. And I think that we're going to see BTC ending the year above 50K. I'm going to predict Solana is going to surpass Binance Coin as the top fourth crypto in the cryptocurrency markets. And then lastly, I think we're going to see Ethereum surpass the 20% total market capitalization ratio. So we're going to see Ethereum own more than 20% of all the total market cap. We tapped it maybe once or twice this year. I think next year we'll see it peak above that 20% mark, but we'll see it actually hold through the end of the year, through the end of 2024. Okay, let's talk about the job market. So remote work is here to stay. Companies outside of big tech that enforce office returns experience a loss of employees. We'll see a small trend of return to the office, but it'll mostly be flat by the end of 2024. The engineering job market is going to face an oversaturation at the entry and mid levels, which will continue the trend of senior principal and staff engineers finding ample opportunities in all engineering roles. So this is really a continuation prediction of the current state of the engineering market. Prompt engineering completes its transition from a meme to reality. We're going to see specialized job roles for prompt engineering emerging. The clear signal that this prediction is correct is that we're going to see prompt-based tasks show up in job interviews. We're going to see software outsourcing intensifies. Why hire an American engineer for 100K when you can hire three, Indian or Brazilian engineers for 30K a pop, and attempt to rapid prototype to your product market fit. So I think we're going to see this trend continue. I think we'll see this specifically for non-senior roles. I could be totally wrong about that, but I'm banking more so on this being targeted for junior, mid-level, which puts more pressure on the middle and the bottom of the market there. Roles in AI, ML, and big data are going to be the most important as they're kind of the backbone for LLM, for prediction, for model training, right? I think they're going to rival the emerging prompt engineering positions. And the prompt engineering meme positions are going to be basically, top three. I think we'll see a job board where we see some really high specialized roles, some, principal, machine learning, big data, and then right next to it, getting paid just as much and offering for a prompt engineering position. I think we're going to see demand for front-end engineers decrease significantly. These are the roles that are and will be getting outsourced, augmented, and eventually automated away completely by LLM technologies. From my experience and the feel of these tools and what I'm seeing in the market right now, the front end is going to be the first thing to go. Because once you build a couple components, once you set up that strategy of the look and feel of your website, you can prompt with great control the majority of the behavior of even your own custom website. So a lot of predictions there. I'm going to compress a couple of those for the end of the year. Let's talk about Pareto Actions. So these are the 80-20 actions you can take to get ahead in 2024, right? I'm focused on becoming an agentic engineer. So everything on my channel kind of follows that line. We're talking about building the next generation of technology that is powered by your agents, right? Your multi-agent systems, You have agents working on your behalf while you sleep. You have agents solving problems for you in the background, coming to you for additional instructions. You have your own workforces here and there. Your email is fully automated by your own personal agents. They only raise top level, most important items to you when it's the right time. That's what my predictions are all about. And that's what my Pareto Actions are all about, right? So how can we get the most bang for our buck? How can we stand by our predictions in the best way as engineers that are looking to transform into agentic engineers? We need to treat prompt engineering as a first-class skill. Embrace prompting techniques, tips, testing frameworks, and practice prompting as often as you code. If you're writing code every day, you should be writing multiple prompts every day, frankly. If you want to get that speed, if you want to move fast in the age of AI, you need to be using prompts. Prompts are a new fundamental unit of programming. If you don't know how to prompt a function, if you can't prompt a module, if you can't prompt a brand new code base, you need to be learning that in Q1 2024. That should be your top priority. I just want to make that really clear. The prompt is the new fundamental unit of programming. Okay, you need to select your information sources carefully to stay updated with the latest in software tech tools, models, so that you can make the best decisions in the age of AI. Just like I mentioned in the prediction, filtering out information that doesn't matter and filtering in information that does matter is going to be critical so that you can be exposed to the right tools and technology, right? Tools that software engineers, creatives, and product builders are using with their boots on the ground, right? I'm not talking about hype cycle stuff. I'm talking about real, valuable software people are actually using to build products, to build content. Select your information sources carefully and make sure you curate your information stream so that you're constantly getting high quality information to help you make informed decisions. I think it's really important to be experimenting with local LLMs like Ollama and Llamaphile. Those are the current ones out right now as of the end of 2023 in December, to understand the trade-offs between local versus API and free versus paid. And the real kind of core of this here is there's going to be a moment when local models can do everything you need them to do. And when that happens, every second you're not using them, you're wasting time and you're wasting money, right? There will definitely be cases where you need a supercharged up model, like the GPT-4, like GPT-5, whatever's coming next. There'll be cases where you want to use that. Maybe you're streamlining your personal development workflow. You just need to get things done. I get that. But there's going to be a huge number of things that a local LLM can do that you just don't need a stronger model for, right? So focus on mastering Python and TypeScript. I don't see these going anywhere. I believe we're going to see these kind of lock in place, just as we've seen C, C++, and Java kind of lock in place as like that core lower level unit of programming language. On the web, for scripting, for data analytics, for model building, we're seeing Python and TypeScript really lock in. I want to highlight focusing on AI tool experimentation. Even the best engineers are bounded by their tools. So keep looking for new, better tools to expand your output. And lastly, prioritize your remote collaboration skills. Make sure you know how to communicate effectively in global remote workforces. I think things are going to remain remote. People love having more time to, optimize their workflow so that they can return to things that they really enjoy doing, working on their side business, working on their side project, going outside, hanging out with their family, sports, health, right? Whatever it is, I think remote work is a plus in the end. So we're going to see that trend continue. If you want to stay effective, however, you need to make sure that you're prioritizing your clear communication, open communication, documentation. Make sure you prioritize your remote collaboration skills. Okay, so those are my predictions. I would love to hear your high conviction predictions in the comment section. Drop a like, drop a sub, drop a comment. I would love to hear what you guys think about my predictions. I think that's how you make better predictions. You get feedback on them. You see what other people are predicting. Do they line up with yours? Do they not? Some of the things I didn't mention here, I don't really talk about web frameworks anymore. I skipped over a couple conversations about serverless technology, reliance on large server providers, right? GCP, AWS. I kind of skipped over that. I think there are some other channels that are, covering that. I really am, heads down, focus on AI charged engineering, building agentic software, building agents that work for you while you sleep. You've heard me say it several times on the channel. That's what this channel is all about. And the plan for myself and everyone watching the channel is to be at the edge of this stuff so that when the tools become available, when the time is right, when the technology is available, we're on the edge and we have our agentic systems working on our behalf in the day, in the night, while we're awake, working in parallel with us while we're asleep. Our agentic systems are going to be at it, providing value for us and for our companies and for our businesses and for our work. So we'll love to hear your predictions. Really appreciate you watching the video, especially if you made it all the way to the end. Huge thanks. We hit 8K this year. Just huge shout out to everyone who's dropped into the channel. Things really blew up over the Postgres data analytics series. It's really cool to see how that's developed and it's turning into a full-blown product. I'll talk about that in another video. If you're not a part of the agentic journey that we're going on this channel, hit the like, hit the sub. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.